This is a Kirblog all about Dragon Ball fusions, and I hope it makes you want to buy this game today. Welcome back, everybody. Dragon Ball Week continues with a little bonus Kirblog. So I got this game that I'm about to talk about today for however long, 20 minutes or so, from Steve Yurko. He gave it to me as a Christmas present because I was taking some interest in it. I was hearing down the grapevine from a few people, mostly the Team 4-Star guys, and Mike Vegito EX from Kanzenshu, about how apparently this game is amazing, and it is because I was utterly addicted to it over the entire holiday break. I don't even know how many hours I logged into it. I don't know if there's a way to find that. So I'm going to spend this time pitching it to you because as far as I'm concerned, it's the best Dragon Ball game I never knew I wanted. Now, granted, I've not played a lot of the newer ones in many, many years. I've mostly just watched others because I haven't been super interested in playing them, and also I don't have systems that are capable of playing them in the first place. But nonetheless, I was utterly addicted to this game, and it completely took me by surprise at how cool it was. It's funny because I do remember hearing like an interview. I think it was with one of the producers from the Budokai games or something, where they were talking about how, we wish that someday we could do a game where we could just fuse anybody with anybody, which more or less, I'm sure if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you know that the basic premise of this game is that fusion is the main kind of thing about it in terms of crossing characters together. But it actually is a lot more than that, and the fusion is really just one small part of it. So I'm just kind of going to give a basic overview of the game to kind of sell it to y'all, and again, not sponsored, usually never am. So this is just entirely by my own, fanboy drooling over it. So basic story is you are an OC that you have the ability to customize and create. A little bit less customization than Xenoverse, but something along those lines. You and your Saiyan friend Pinich, because vegetable puns, haha. Make a wish on the Dragon Balls to create the greatest tournament in all of time and space. So your wish basically fuses the entire Dragon Ball mythos together into one giant world. The main plot characters that you eventually collect, well, you and Pinich kind of split up and start forming your own teams. It's a team of, you have to form a team of at least 5. In order to compete in this mega time-space tournament thing. So Pinich goes off to find his own team, and you basically recruits at the beginning Goten and Trunks in their kid forms from DBZ, little kid original Dragon Ball Goku, and kind of preteen Pan from Dragon Ball GT. Those are the main characters that are with you consistently throughout and are with you with all the cutscenes and everything. And so you're basically going through this giant, massive world, which basically is it's a bunch of floating pieces of land, all kind of centered around different tiers of Korin's Tower, stretching all the way up to the heavens. I believe it's 7 tiers of areas, and each one has like these little, kind of mounted off pieces of a historical place from Dragon Ball. You start at the bottom. There's like Capsule Corporation, some different places like that, and like Mr. Satan's, Satan City / Orange Star City, where Gohan's high school and everything. And then in the same area, you'll see like a bunch of places from Planet Namek with like the Grand Elder's house or whatever, and then eventually you'll find the Budokai Tournament Stadium and like Kami's Palace and stuff like that. So it's all intermittent between each other. There's lots of different cool places. It's very elaborately designed. It's fun to navigate around. There's lots of exploration, a pretty fair amount of exploration. You can fly around freely this area. It looks great for 3DS as well. It's like the graphical style for the character models is about on par with Pokemon X and Y. The low poly N64-esque kind of stuff, and the backgrounds look great. I guess as far as the fusion mechanics go, since that is a big thing, so Bulma created this magical device that allows you to do Potara-style fusion with a fusion dance. So they're like these little arm ringlet things that the characters wear, and then they can fuse indefinitely until they choose to defuse through way of a special machine. So eventually you also get access to one of Frieza's spaceships that allows you to fuse any characters at will. You can also do in-battle fusions, which are the traditional dance fusions with Gotenks and Gogeta, characters like that. But most of it is going to be EX fusions, which is used with the armlet things. And you can fuse not everybody with everybody, but a whole lot of combinations of different characters to create basically your new party members of up to 5. Now, before I get into the core gameplay mechanics, which are the battle system, something I want to point out is, again, while I've never played the Xenoverse games, something I've kind of noticed from, I've watched Team 4 Star's massive playthrough of it, and it seems like the identity of those games are a little muddied by it being both an RPG and a fighting game at the same time, as opposed to this, where this is flat out an RPG game. In fact, I would even go so far as to say, like, the easiest, like, offhanded way for me to describe it to people is it's if Dragon Ball had a Pokemon-style RPG game. So again, you have up to 5 characters in your party, and you can fight usually up to about 5 enemies at a time. Most of the time, those are how the battles are set up, except for in certain cases. So it's 5 on 5. You have a big area that's set up in a grid. Most often it's a circle. Sometimes it'll be in different shapes, etc., with a boundary in it. So basically, your characters take turns. There's a little bar at the bottom of the screen, which is actually very convenient because it shows whose turn is coming up next in terms of what the speed level is supposed to be. So that determines who goes first. When it's your turn, you can do a few different things. You can charge your ki, which allows you to use special techniques, all the usual Kamehameha and all the signature attacks of every character are all available to use for just about everybody. You can teach them different attacks as you level up. But whenever you complete a level, you can also unlock different attacks to teach multiple characters in different swings. So the technique teaching system is actually a little easier, I think, because you can just kind of do whatever you want as you level up your characters, and leveling up is pretty quick as well. In the time that I spent on it, I got up to like the 70s or so with each of my main team members. Nonetheless, you can charge your ki and use special techniques, that cause massive damage around the grid to different characters depending on where you are positioned in the field, and you can move around by using your basic attacks, which are melee and ki blasts. Ki blasts are what allow you to basically go around anywhere you got to go. You can move your character and angle them to shoot ki blasts at multiple characters in a row if like your pathway for shooting ki is straightforward or whatever. This also allows you to position your characters around for if, say, somebody's using a healing technique and they have to be within a certain vicinity of you, like there's a little like circle around where they'll heal everybody. then you can move them to strategize and etc. and also to position yourself to attack multiple enemies at once. And the melee attack, so basically you go up to them to the targeted opponent, and then you kind of teleport like around their vicinity, and this will happen to you as well if somebody's using a melee attack on you. When a melee attack is being caused on a target, whether it's you or you're causing it to somebody else, the one who's about to attack is encircling around the target, and the target can block. Like they basically face the opposite direction with the control stick, and they hit a button, and then like there's a little barrier of like a couple tick marks that like show, okay, this is where I'm blocking. And if you block the hit, then you take less damage and you only get knocked back a little bit. But if you get a clean hit, or just a regular hit where like you're attacking from the angle that they're not blocking from, then basically you do like a come from behind, like psh, and you knock the opponent like across the field from whatever angle that you were attacking from, basically. So like you can come from one angle and then strike from a different angle. So it doesn't have to be like 1-to-1 basically. But what's cool about this, and this is the core thing about the game, the most raw enjoyment, like satisfying thing, is basically you can knock the target. And you can also be knocked in the same way into other characters. If you hit one of your teammates, then they get like pinball knocked around and shit. And then if you hit one of the person that hit you's teammates, like on the opposite team, then they'll knock you away into the other ones. So if all the characters are positioned around each other close enough, then you'll be ping-ponging them back and forth, and sometimes you can knock out a character in one move if you've positioned things right. And sometimes even in the very beginning, if you get a clean hit on one of the characters on the far end of the lineup that they're all kind of stacked into, sometimes you can knock them in, you can like hit them all in a row. And it's hilarious and very, very satisfying. And especially if you knock them out of bounds from the battlefield, then they'll get sent flying, and then they're also sent to the bottom of the back of the bar at the bottom of the screen that determines the order of when they attack. I don't know if there's anything quite like this. I'm sure there's probably other games that have similar kind of battle systems, but this is the first time I played like a turn-based and strategy hybrid quite like this before. Again, the kind of Dragon Ball Z action-y type little things that they integrated into it are real. Just make it very satisfying. Like they're just little things that like made me, every time I had to get into a battle, like I was always excited. There were really, I think I can count on one hand the amount of battles that I fled from, and I think it was actually only because I was at such low health that I was like, oh, I can't do this right now. I got to go back to the ship and heal. That's actually one of my very few complaints, is that there's no auto healing. You generally always have to go back to your spaceship or one of like the hub areas like Capsule Core to heal your characters. That said, so here's something else. Actually, another thing that you can do on your turn that I forgot to mention is something called a Zenkai attack, which if you use a Zenkai attack while you're battling against an enemy that has a star next to their little icon at the bottom, then if you use a Zenkai attack to finish them off, which basically it's you pick one of your special techniques, but on the way to using it, you go into this kind of little mini QuickTime event where you're almost like, it's like you're playing a DBZ fighting game, like a traditional one for like 2 seconds, where you're in a 3D little area and you're just like moving around and punching the shit out of or shooting the shit out of the target enemy that you're attacking. And then you finish them off with whatever like special technique that you decide to combine with it. So like if you use a Kamehameha. And then if you knock them out of bounds, or no, sorry, actually, I don't think that out of bounds matters, but I usually would always try to do that for the extra kick just in case. But if you finish off an opponent with a Zenkai attack and they have a star next to their name, then you recruit them onto your team. And then you can have them as a new playable character that you can go select later when you're in the spaceship. And then from there, you're able to, also combine them into other characters, which I'll get into that stuff in a little while. But yeah, and actually on the note of fusing, so this is a separate function than the traditional like two characters fusing together. So when the Zenkai the Zenkai meter is what allows you to use Zenkai attacks. You have up to 2 bars that you can fill up. You can use 2 different ones. But also, if you have a Zenkai meter that's filled up, you can also use an Ultra Fusion, which for all intents and purposes is just a super powerful attack that will decimate virtually everybody on screen that you can target within the vicinity of your fusion. This is also what's important about positioning your characters together when you want to time doing a big attack like that. And also you can recruit multiple characters at the same time with a Zenkai attack too. So the Ultra Fusion, basically whoever you target with, so say like you have, Goku or some kind of Saiyan character, then when you use the Ultra Fusion, all 5 of your characters meld together into one super powerful, like giant fusion character. And typically it's like a super version of whatever the one that you selected that move on. So like if you choose it on Goku, for instance, then it'll become like a giant Super Saiyan, like, ultra warrior like guy, and then same thing with like a Namekian or an Offworld or an alien or a human, etc. So this can allow you to attack multiple enemies at once with massive damage. It's very useful, especially for the big boss fights when you're fighting a lot of the major villains later on. When you're fighting like, Frieza and Cell fighting alongside each other, or like, Boo and Janemba crossed together, or, Baby after, possessing Hero Dagaran or something, that kind of thing. It becomes very, very useful. Then, you're encouraged to do that. Kind of in tandem with a few minor complaints. So there's no auto healing, which it's kind of just like, okay, whatever, you just kind of got to deal with it. So also when you defeat enemies, you also gather different types of energy, and depending on the race of the characters that you're battling against, you get different colored energy. So again, there's humans, Saiyans, Namekians, Offworlders, which are like Kais and Majin type people, and aliens, which can be any array of the different kinds of aliens in the Dragon Ball world. And then there's red, yellow, green, blue, and purple energy that you can get from fighting those different characters in the random battles on the overworld that you can, or not random, they're fixed battles. So you can avoid getting into battles, or you can approach specific ones. It's very convenient and shows what level that the opponent you're going to fight is at. If you want to stay away from the more powerful ones, it shows what the predominant race of the characters are. So if you need to, I got to gather some green energy, I better fight some Namekians. Oh, hey, there's a green icon character floating around in the overworld. I'll go fight them and collect some green energy, etc. you need to collect energy in order to progress through different parts of the game. And those are just kind of situational things that aren't that big of a deal. The only real like major complaint that I have is that so when you're trying to capture enemies, this is kind of almost why I compare it to a Pokemon game. When you're trying to recruit teammates, you build up Zenkai energy for the meter by either getting attacked by other characters or by using healing techniques. Which is why it's actually very important, and healers are invaluable to have on your team. In fact, I've had two. Kieran from Team 4-Star Gaming was much smarter than me, and he actually had multiple teams. Because you can have multiple groups of 5 characters. Your player character always has to be one of them. But you can have multiple teams to switch between depending on the situation. And he made a team specifically for capturing. Which I think was a very smart idea. But I on the other hand, I had 2 healers, one with a technique that heals one character, and then one that heals everybody within their vicinity, like a healing shout attack. That raises the Zenkai meter up way quicker, so it's easier to do it that way, but it can take a while. It can draw things out a little bit and gets a little annoying at times, and you do need to capture a lot of people. I keep saying capturing, but recruiting people, it's important because that allows you to expand the amount of energy that you can gather for a particular type, and it's very, very important to do that in order to progress through the game in the first place. On that note, you're probably wondering, hey, what was your team? So my team consisted of, first and foremost, Zeto, which was my create a character OC thing. I made him an alien so he'd have the blue skin and everything. It's actually kind of funny on that note, too. The game is very, very self-aware in terms of, like, it's very, very unabashed with its fan service, and it owns it completely, so it's very entertaining in that way. It's very like, oh man, what are you gonna do? You know, character that you've made for yourself, etc. What are you gonna do, Daniel or whatever? It's fun. It's very tongue in cheek. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Another minor complaint is that like when it allows you the chance to respond, much like in Pokemon X and Y, it doesn't really matter whatever you say. So it's just kind of like, oh, okay. I don't even know if it makes the conversation play out differently, but. Nonetheless, I had Zeto, who had I think he was mostly a melee type guy. I also customized him with that very like arigato, like type, like low old like TTA style voice that I used to give him from years ago, which was very silly. I also had Gorillin, which was Kid Dragon Ball Goku and DBZ Krillin fused together. Really good character, good balance of power and energy. And, actually worth mentioning that there is sort of types. I forget what they are, but they're like a red, blue, and yellow style, and they have like a different like name to them. But one is strong against the other. Like red is good against yellow is good against blue is good against red. So it's good to also have a balance of at least all 3. I think I was missing a yellow character on my team, which was silly of me. But Gorillin was powerful, and Gorillin also had an ability that would allow him to sustain one hit and when he's knocked up against the rim of the battlefield. He could still stay on board and like he flips over and he's like, hey, I'm still here and I'm not getting shot out of bounds or whatever. I also had both Bardock and Gine, Goku's mother, who is recruitable, I think, by like the 3rd or 4th section of the game of like the different tiers that you go through. Gine is stereotypically like many RPGs, the girl characters are a lot of the healers, not like exclusively, but they often happen to have healing techniques. But Gine was really useful. She was often one of my faster characters as well. And she's great. And then Bardock also was very powerful. I got him around the same time, and I needed to have both of them together, of course. I did eventually want to try to get Goku to fuse him with Bardock and get, like, Bardarat or whatever it's called. But there were some characters I wanted to get to fuse with my characters later. Because that's kind of the whole point of it, is that you're recruiting them so that you can also fuse them together and make more powerful characters. Hence why I had Gorilla instead of Krillin or Goku individually. I did play with them individually for a while, but once I had the ability to fuse them, it was way, way better to just do it that way. I couldn't get Toa from Dragon Ball Online Heroes and Xenoverse or whatever to fuse with Gine, but I don't mind too much because I think their fusion was a little freaky looking. And then my last team member, which was I had Pan and Bola, or Bra, it's Bra, both on my team for a little while. And then when I trained Bra up to be the proper level to fuse, then I fused them into Bullpan or Bra Pan, which was basically just Bra wearing Pan's clothes, basically. Also a powerful healer, very fast character. And that was my team. And I remember I took a picture of that and I tweeted out like, oh, Zeto's DBZ fanfic adventures are continuing forth. So I had a great time with this. I played this for hours and hours and hours almost every single day when I was away for the holiday vacation. I think I even made myself sick on the plane from playing it for too much on the way back from the vacation. I beat the main quest. I did a little bit of the side quest as well after the game was over. I did a lot of the side quests during the game too, because it encourages you to. It encourages you to do that because you unlock a lot of cool characters by doing that. And also there will be other characters that you can get just from like random battles that you'll find, or overworld battles, I should say, in like various little time space risks that you can find by like charging your key and finding little areas to open up, and like suddenly shit, it's cooler, or, it's oob or whatever, wow, cool, I can recruit them now, and and then again you can fuse a lot of different things together and find crazy combinations that are quite a fun surprise. So. Yeah, I highly recommend this game. If you love DBZ, if you love Dragon Ball stuff in general, there's a lot of fun, little things to get out of it. If you are a fan of Pokemon, which, you probably are if you like both DBZ and Pokemon, I would recommend this game too, because it basically is the Dragon Ball Z Pokemon-style game that we never knew that we wanted. And it's the most fun I've had, like genuine fun I've had with the Dragon Ball game since like Dragon Ball Super. Super Dragon Ball, ha ha ha. For PS2 that I did a Kirblog about years ago. It was the old Street Fighter-esque fighting game. But yeah, I've not had this much fun with a Dragon Ball game in ages. I highly, highly recommend it. So go pick it up. It's for 3DS. That's it. That's it for my review. So thank you for listening. If you've already played the game, tell me your team and your stories and some funny memories you have with it. If you're interested, and haven't checked it out yet, maybe if you have any other questions I could maybe answer, other people in the comments can answer about it as well. Leave some feedback about that below, and look forward to this Saturday on Dragon Ball Day for when Kai Final Chapters as well as Dragon Ball Super's English dub are going to premiere on Toonami, and my next and final Kirblog of Dragon Ball Week, which is with Vegito EX of Kanzenshu, Mike Labrie, talking about the main themes in Dragon Ball. In the meantime, please enjoy Dragon Ball Fusions. Do consider picking it up, and I will catch you all next time.